Welcome everyone, Denzel Rodriguez here, your personal finance geek of the 21st century. I'm here at the Life Insurance Summit in Nashville, Tennessee. We're in day two. I got Chris Kirkpatrick here to my left and Daniel Romberg to my far left as well. All who have been on our channel a few times, debuted, and so we're catching up. We're going over some, really fun topics, conversations, and connections, community growth, all of those. And today I want to give a IUL update, IUL challenge update that Chris has been running for over 2 years now.
It's been almost three.
Almost 3 years.
Almost 3 years.
And so the last time you were on my channel was, I want to say, almost a year ago. And the ante was like, I want to say 10,000.
Yeah.
And
that was actually probably about 5,000 then.
Okay.
We upped it to 10,000.
Right.
Then.
So upped it to 10K.
Yeah.
And I've been committed to giving 1,000 on top of that, and then Chris Noggle jumped in on it as well, and he added some dollars to it. And so I'm gonna pass the mic to Chris here to kind of give us an update. What's going on?
Yeah, rock and roll. So yeah, I created the IUL challenge ultimately because it's just misrepresented as a product, right? And so we're on stage about to go live with the event. We got 15, 20 minutes here before they kick us off, but I'll say this is I created the IUL challenge simply because it's the most misrepresented product in the financial industry. And it's not that it's a bad product, it's just that it's not designed to do what everybody's selling it as this accumulation vehicle and tax-free income distribution vehicle. And so when you think about how IUL is sold, it's sold under the premise of upside potential and downside protection. I'm not going to get into all the details. If you want to watch more videos on that, you can. But like, if you are watching this, you probably understand what I'm talking about on how it's sold. Theory, I guess the way to say it is, my stance is the fact that if it's sold on upside potential, and we just came through the greatest bull run of all time, well, every single IUL policy out there should have outperformed its original illustration, right?
At the very least.
At the very least, it should have matched it at the very, very bare minimum, right? And so when we look at that, and I want to say this, like a lot of people will say, oh, well, if IUL hasn't done it, well, whole life hasn't done it either. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, you should never look at whole life and IUL through the same lens. They're not designed, they're not sold the same way, and you should never look at whole life even as an investment. It's a savings alternative. IUL is sold as an investment alternative, right? That's a key distinction to make. And so when we look at that for an investment alternative, during the greatest bull run, well, it should have been able to capture that upside potential for you, meaning these kind of quote unquote conservative illustrations that people are doing, well, it should have been a no-brainer. Well, the problem is it hasn't happened. And so I got tired. The inspiration for this was I just got tired of the trolls always making comments and telling me I was wrong and I didn't know what I was talking about. I'm like, all right, if I don't know what I'm talking about, why don't I just give you some money to prove me wrong? And nobody can do it. It's funny how this goes. We've had literally over 1 million views on our IUL challenge content. It's been 3 years and nobody's been able to win. It's pretty funny how everybody told me I was wrong, yet nobody. And maybe it's just like life insurance agents don't like money. They don't. I mean, is that it?
I don't know, man.
You would think somebody would be eager to share with you, like
free commission.
I mean, right? I'm testing it out. So, like, here's what we're doing. We're in the process right now of upping the amount from 10,000. I don't know what I'm going to do next. It's going to come next. But like, if you're an IUL agent and, maybe you've been waiting for this time where I've been trying to bump it to 20 or 25K or something like that. And that's going to be your number. You're like, no, I'm holding out. I'm holding out
for 20K.
Maybe that's it. Maybe. I don't know. But like, what I do know is that I could up it to 100K and nobody's going to win it. You know what I mean? Because the principle is the principle. And the problem with IUL is that so many agents are new in this business, right? Have been in this business since 2018, 19, 20, 21, 5 years, 6 years or less. And you can't even tell that there's a real big problem with an IUL until you're 7, 8, 9, 10 and beyond. And so by the time people realize they have a problem, it's already too late. And that's where my passion is. That's why I wrote my new book, IUL Exposed. It just dropped a couple weeks ago, which I'm really excited about.
Nice.
And yeah, so the answer is, just to quick summarize, nobody's won. Nobody's going to win. I keep putting it out there. I'm going to keep poking the bear because it's not about like fighting with the IUL agents. It's about getting information out there to people who are about to make the biggest financial mistake of their life before they make it. Like I used to be the director of business development for the top IUL company in the country, as from a sales volume perspective. And like what I know is I wish that before I had invested 4.5 years of my life and relationships into that company, I wish somebody had warned me about all the things that I now know. And so that's why I share the information about IUL that I share, is not to fight with people, but just to serve the people that are getting into this business and that are looking to buy these policies, to really understand it before they get deep into it, because I didn't have that when I was in the business. And so, yeah, that's why it's my passion.
So action steps for those of you who are agents, IUL agents, reach out to your upline, reach out to your longest standing agent in the company that has sold the policy in 2010.
That's a great point.
Or at the very minimum 2015.
Yeah.
Because the parameters is the policy has to be at least 10 years old.
Yep.
You need to have the original illustration and in-force illustration. The in-force illustration has to, at the bare minimum,
Just
match the original illustration performance. That's all.
Doesn't seem like too much.
Reach out to me or check out Chris's channel, Life 180, and we will coordinate a time for us to present, and let's have some fun with it. Let's learn. I think there's a lot of IUL agents that are very open-minded, and they're like, if I'm wrong, I want to be wrong today. I want to get it wrong now, so I can begin to improve my practice. And that's been my perspective.
I know, I did. That was my experience, yeah.
For sure. I want to add to that a little bit too, because that's a great call to action, first of all, Denzel, because one of the challenges with these 3-letter IMOs out there, whether it's WFG, PHP, PFA, like FFL, like they all kind of operate the same way in the sense that they're like, just follow the system. Success leaves clues. Like there's all these neuro-linguistic programming kind of trained ways to guilt you into, am I wrong?
No,
like,
it's very sales.
Yeah, it's very that way.
Yeah.
And so they try to like just get you going down this path, and they get you to just follow along kind of blindly. And to me, that's not how you do anything. And so if you're going down this path, do what Denzel said. Get with your upline, get with your upline's upline, get with somebody who's been in the business long enough to prove it to you. Don't ever bring an IUL or sell an IUL to anybody that you love until you've seen one personally work. And that's not an illustration that shows how it could kind of quote unquote potentially work. I'm talking about find an illustration that's 10 years old, not one that's worked for 2 years, not one that's worked for 3 years, not one that's worked for 4 years, but one that's worked for the long haul, for 10 years or plus, once it's gotten through the surrender cycle of the policy. That's when you know. If it's not through the surrender cycle, it's all smoke and mirrors at that point in time. You got to see that it's worked from a long-term perspective. And if you can't do that, if the person in your agency and your upline can't prove that to you, well, then I think that's a good time to start questioning who you're, in alignment with.
So with that being said, have a wonderful day. God bless. And we'll be talking soon. Thank you so much.